Hi guys, so I'm going to continue our talk on self-love, and this is the next part in the series, and this is discussing fear and why it's an important part of the equation. So fear does not belong in any relationship at all whatsoever, okay? When you are in fear, you are not acting in love, okay? And so what do I mean by fear? I mean any type of fear where you feel like you can lose this person, or where examples of this could be you would keep quiet so as not to say what you're really thinking because you don't want to make waves, okay? So you would be rejecting what you really want to say and hiding that away so as not to make waves, so as to hold on to someone. That is fear. That's not love, okay? If you remember, when I was talking about self-love, I said self-acceptance is a huge part of the equation. The reason self-acceptance is a huge part of the equation is because all of your experiences are on display, okay? All of your experiences are made into new patterns, and what you select is your own experience. You are falling in love with yourself. The relationship is with yourself, and what you're doing to yourself is then mirrored out. So when you reject yourself in fear in any way, shape, or form, the deficit must by law appear as you are being. You have to remember the key words here. You do not get what you want, you get what you are being. And if you are being afraid, you are not being love. Therefore, what happens to the perfect resolution that God intended for you to have? You have just cast a shadow over your relationship, and these wounds will then be highlighted for you to see. But that is the purpose of that experience. However, when you are in fear, you are going to activate worst case scenarios. You are going to be tempted to limit yourself. You're going to be tempted to act in such a way. Any of these fearful things are not in any way love, and this prevents authenticity. When you prevent authenticity, then what happens is you put on a mask, a facade. You say things are okay when they're not. You do all sorts of things, and these things then fester inside of you, and then they must play out again outside of you. You are unconscious of being these things, so they will play outside. So in fear, the chaos that you experience outside is literally occurring due to your emotional state not being the perfect love that God is. Okay? Fear is an important part of the equation because you are either love or fear. These are the only two emotions that dictate what happens outside of you. In varying degrees, what you are seeing is your love or your fear. That is it. These are the two things. Okay? Both of which determine what you see. So you see, when you're in love, when you're in the best of moods, and you're bunned up and you're so happy the world is beautiful and it's perfect, and yeah, okay? That's God's perfect state. All right? In fear, you get the opposite of that in varying degrees. Okay? So you may result in arguments. Okay, they may result in an unfaithful partner. They may result in all sorts of consequences, all of which will get you to face the deficit that you are causing when you are being fearful rather than being loving. It is an important part of the equation because at the end of the day, one of the things that's really helpful, if you've heard the story of the Princess of Kashi, and how the young man fell in love with his reflection, and as soon as he realized the reflection was him, he lost all desire for her, okay? This is exactly what needs to happen to you. You lose all desire to hold on to something because you know that it is you, so you rest in the comfort of being love and magnifying love and then receiving what you put out. But if in any point in time you are fearful, this will affect the quality of your relationship. It will absolutely affect the quality of your relationship. Is it a bad thing? No, because you will strive to make up for the deficit and find your way back to love either way. So if you chose fear, you simply missed your mark. If you're choosing love and acceptance of your whole being, and you're okay to voice your needs, you're okay to set your boundaries, you're okay to say the things that you like, you're okay to disagree. You know, no one says, you know, you have to be perfect. In fact, my life can be an example. My partner happens to be, and the only people I tend to be attracted to are the ones that are the exact opposite, the reverse of me, the inverse of what everything I think I am, okay? Now, most people would be like, what? You choose your opposite on purpose? Yes, because this allows me to see way further into the universe, because what's true of the micro is true of the macro. So when I have an opposing view, I can now see a way further in the space in between, which allows me to understand my relationships, okay, in the world, because I have a holistic view of both my, of my energy, of both my counterpart's energy and my own. It's the same energy, mind you, but as you see this wide spectrum that allows me to interpret reality from this way, okay, this allows me to understand the entire universe. It's you. It's always you. But the opposite perspective allows you to see further using the universal mirror in a totally different way. What's true in your relationship with one individual is true of your relationship of everyone. When you act in fear in your relationship, in this individual relationship, the deficit will not only show up in your personal relationship, it will show up at work, it will show up in relatives, it will show up in all kinds of ways. We are told not to be fearful because it activates the curses, you could say, okay? God is not punishing anyone. He is saying, look, my kingdom is perfect. And then there's that. Varying degrees of what's not, what you consider not to be perfect in judgment, okay? Anything that exists outside of that. And then there's God's perfection. God's perfection is love, because love is all there is. When we act purposely fearful, what we are doing is inviting Satan. You know, not an actual Satan. What we're doing is being the opposing force and therefore not receiving the very best that life has to offer. Fear is simply not a part of the equation if you want to be in a loving, satisfying relationship. If you are trying to bridge the gap, if you are with your SP or not, it makes no difference. You cannot be fearful. If you are fearful about losing your partner, and that is the predominant thought, okay, meaning that 51% of the time you are more thinking about how you can lose this person than you are about how much you love this person, then by law you must lose this person. Okay? Your dominant focus yields the results that you're looking for. Energy goes with your attention flows. So if you're choosing to be fearful 51% of that time, that means you don't have to be perfect, mind you. You just need to turn the tide in the direction, okay? The law of attraction acts like a pulley that is either going to lift you to the desired state or bring you down like a weight, okay? Gravity will do the rest, okay? So then all scenarios will match your state of being. So in self-love, because the relationship is with yourself, the most important thing you can do is not be fearful with all interactions, okay? You cannot stifle yourself, because in reality, here's what you want. You want to be seen and loved and appreciated for who you are. You want the uniqueness. You know, I'll use myself as an example, okay? In all of my relationships, people talk to me and they look me in the eyes and like, Sen, baby, can you use your witchy skills to do this, this, and this for me? You know? That's a very proud thing for me. Proud thing for me, okay? It means that people are not closed-minded about the fact that we can make manifestations change, and that they've seen it in me and it's confirmation, and so that my loving partners can see that magic in me and value this quality in me. I have always never hidden the fact that things that I can do are kind of freaky, and my life has been one big supernatural cluster. Okay? My life has been that. Okay? But it's taken me a long time to accept that, to love that, to honor that, to cherish that fully without any kind of reprimand. Okay? As a result, okay, my outer reflection then accepts everything about me. My hidden nature, the cool stuff people don't know about, the truly weird stuff that only can be Cindy, okay? You want someone to see you this way, okay? Where it's only Janine, it's only, Joey. You want to be honored for being you. And when you are fearful, you are not authentic. And when you're not authentic, you are not loved for who you are. The consequence must show up outside. Okay? The formula is you first, then treat others as you want to be treated. You will receive then no deficit, because 2 positives equal a positive. Okay? But if you short yourself in any way, a minus plus the positive that is unconditional will yield a minus in the world. It's very precise and mathematical, because you are the only one in the equation. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding this. I happen to be giving you the shortcut that allows you not to be fearful, because when you treat people as you would yourself and you love them as you do yourself, you love in absolute freedom. You do not fear losing them. In fact, you love them so much that you want the absolute best for them, whether it includes you or not. When you love with that kind of freedom and that absolute lack of fear, I promise you that person, whoever that person is, will want to be with you. Your love will have absolutely no need, no burden, no desire. Okay? Other than you are choosing to share what is coming out of you in rules, okay, love, with another human being consciously and blessing them on purpose. And that does not go unnoticed. But there's no fear in the equation. If you're fearful in your acting, if you're fearful in hiding who you are, if you are not being your true self, how can someone appreciate all of who you are if you're not showing up? If you're afraid to be that, okay? Now, I understand the illusion will make you question your worth. The illusion will make you question past experiences, may question your worth. You may have inherited patterns. Even if you have totally awesome parents and you lucked out, you may have inherited your grandparents' patterns, and you may be blind to them, and that is okay. Okay? When you know everything is you are not fearful of every scenario that comes to you. You are just knowing the best is happening because of you. It's a very different state of being. It is not fearful. You interact with your partner in complete and absolute freedom. You say what you want. You let your hair down, and you're totally yourself. And this person enjoys being with you. This only occurs if you yourself are doing this for you. One of the biggest things that I do with my coaching clients whenever they're trying to attract their love partner or they have someone in mind is mandatory homework, whether they choose to do it or not, is I will know. Okay, I will know, because if you do it, you do end up with a partner, is date yourself. Is take a moment to enjoy your own company and don't be afraid of who you are, of your needs, of figuring out who that is, of loving and paying attention to this, of enforcing these boundaries without fear of losing someone. That's your key, okay? When you are fearful of losing, I want you to understand that this is something of ignorance, you could say, because behind the veil, literally, you are the light, and outside of the veil, you are the shadow. Okay? So you are the light that is animating the material plane. You cannot lose yourself. But you are responsible for knowing what that is, for honoring that, for not being fearful, for treating that person with kindness. And above all else, I understand we inherited some wounds. We may expect cheating, for example. Okay, well, why did that occur? Well, maybe we've seen it in our past, and so we're fearful of that. Well, that fear will still attract just as quickly as your positive expectation. They're gonna happen. The law works for or against you, but you and only you are the one that is choosing. So the tips that I'm gonna end this conversation with is no fear in your relationships, and allowing that lack of fear allow you to be more authentically you. Okay? Some of my clients, they have blocked throat chakras as a result of holding in and not saying who they are. Okay, so it's resulting in anxiety, which then causes them to be unable to breathe. Okay, the breathing anxiety, blocked throat chakra. From not expressing, from living in fear most of the time, from rejecting yourself. Your soul is listening, and then your projector, which is your body or the light that reflects outside, that turns the shadow into a material thing, will be exactly as you are being. So when you are fearful, you are literally distorting God's perfect image. Is it bad? No. Everything exists. Everything's got to be there. You got to see one to compare the other. It's great. There's no judgment in that. But understand how it works. Okay? Understand that your emotions plus your mentality is what you are seeing outside. The emotions, your body is the remote control for the entire universe. I know it doesn't look that way. I know it doesn't sound that way, but you will, if you start to notice, you will notice that you are on infinite patterns all over. That you, by you, I mean your experience, your state of being during certain times are on display in different patterns. These make the illusion of other bodies, but it is the one expressing as the many. Your world is behind your eyes, not in front of them. Okay? You are the object that exists outside of the universal mirror. The content that you are seeing outside is 100% dependent on you. When you start taking account for that and then you participate in the world, you will find a totally different world. This world in which you are everything at once and you are quite clear of this has always been in existence. It is a state called Christ consciousness. There is no fear in this state. If you are trying to achieve this state, it is not done through fear. It is done through an exorbitant amount of love that helps you see that you are the constant. Once you see that, you have your Princess of Kashi moment, okay? These stories, these myths are used because they are actual occurrences that happen when you are not fearful, okay? And then you'll have different type of problems. You'll have the type of problems I'm trying to figure out. And that's my total lack of desire ends up being misinterpreted. Okay? I'm dealing with that one. All right? Again, still, I'd rather have these issues than not know that everything is me. Okay? I'm just learning how to see, using the universal reflection on how to understand myself. I develop more appreciation for that, and I then start projecting that. What in turn happens is I end up in a world where I am on the receiving end of exactly what I am being, which is why fear is not part of the equation. I hope that helps. I hope that was good. I don't know. I love you guys. See you guys soon.